Hi, my name's David Siegel. In the 1990s, I played a small role in the development of the World Wide Web.
And I'm Micah, the real voice talent in the family.
In 2010, I wrote a book about the Metaverse, but we didn't call it the Metaverse then, we called it the Semantic Web. Now, I'm pleased to say we are finally starting to build a world I have been describing for 20 years.
In 2014, my dad was on a panel, and they asked him whether he thought Google Glass would be successful or not.
I said it didn't matter. What matters is that we create the data layer that can power it. Without the data, the glasses are useless. That data layer is just starting to get built now. So what is this thing called the Metaverse? The Metaverse is simply the real-time, location-aware web. The term Metaverse doesn't really matter. We're talking about the digital future that you'll live in.
I will? Okay, I'll pay attention.
In the next 30 minutes, I want to show you my vision for this connected future.
Let's look forward in 10 years.
Will we have any of these things we have today?
I don't know. What do you think, Dad?
I don't think we will, Micah. I think our interaction with the digital world will be much more natural and fluid. Our devices will get smaller. Our environments will become more immersive.
Our interactions will be more natural.
Digital will blend with the physical world. We will seamlessly interact with people, systems, and data wherever we are. While people think of the metaverse today as immersive,
I think reality plus wearables will dominate.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Let's find out.
The Oculus Quest 2 is the best-selling headset in history, with 15 million units sold.
And the Quest store has sold more than $1.5 billion of content. Almost all of that is games.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
We've learned that the consumers don't stay. Just like you. You tried it, remember? Do you still use your Oculus headset?
No, I went back to PS4. Besides, they were uncomfortable on my face.
See? Most people try it for a month or so and then forget it. Meta reports fewer than 200,000 regular users on the platform. Over the past year, Meta has spent more than $10 billion to improve and evangelize the platform. Yet, we're not all going to meetings in goggles, are we?
Most analysts agree that platform has largely failed.
Meta stock price is down to where it was in 2017.
This is really great news. The metaverse isn't something one company can build.
It isn't going to be a monopoly. The metaverse is going to be a new platform, open for anyone to build on without paying rent. The metaverse is really the future of the web itself. So let's look now at the concept of the open metaverse. Think of Google Earth.
Today, Google Earth can't show you anything happening in real time. It's static. Now imagine Google Earth with all parts working and everything flowing in real time.
The idea is to add real-time heat maps of traffic, pedestrians, construction, wind, noise, fire, smoke. You could look up and see the actual flights in the sky at that moment.
Or all the drones.
This is the real-time web, regardless of which device you use to experience it.
Much of it will be digital twins of everything, like cities.
Launched in 2014 at a cost of over $70 million, Digital Singapore is a dynamic three-dimensional city model and collaborative data platform. It is already being used to help autonomous vehicles navigate the streets and the port optimize traffic flows. Hamad Airport in Qatar is now almost fully digital. The digital twin of the airport can warn of any issues, handle real-time problems, run scenarios, and much more. This is Hong Kong Airport Terminal 1, with one of the most advanced digital infrastructures in the world.
Initially, digital twins like this will mirror what happens in the environment via sensors.
But more and more, that digital world will control the real world. So if you make a change to the data, that change will happen in reality. In 20 years, most facilities will be run fully digitally this way, letting sophisticated systems work together to solve problems in real time with few humans on the ground doing the work. The United Nations is committing to building a digital version of Earth as a platform for digital twins of cities, infrastructures, utilities, supply chains, etc.
What do you think of that, Dad?
Frankly, I'm not so excited about the United Nations one, but a company called Black Shark is now shipping an almost complete 3D model of the entire Earth, buildings and roads included, updated every week.
The key is connecting all the different systems that can become smart and solve their own problems.
Now, most major consulting companies already have digital twins, special reports, and case studies. I hope the ideas we present here will help move it forward.
In the open metaverse, you will teleport in space and time the way we use web links today.
I want to repeat that. It should be as easy to teleport anywhere in space and time as it is to click a web link today. A group called the Open Metaverse Interoperability Group is working on standards for doing just that.
And so is a group called the Metaverse Standards Forum.
This is where the action is right now. There will be no proprietary metaverse. To build the future web, we'll need to make serious progress on standards in all these areas.
We need to make all these things work together, not in silos.
Right, Micah. So we'll show a few of these concepts now.
But first, a few things about the technology we're going to need.
I expect that within 10 to 15 years, most people won't carry a handset. In fact, I predict peak handset in just a few years from now. We will mostly interact with our environment and others using voice and wearables. It'll be easy to go back and forth between augmented and immersive environments. Because we're building the data layer, over the next 10 to 15 years, I expect Facebook to sell more glasses than headsets,
and Apple to sell more wearables than handsets.
Glasses are a more natural way to interact with the digital world. But I think the big winner will be voice, and I'll say more about this a little later.
Avatars are improving quickly. Are they going to be like avatars in the James Cameron movie, Dad?
Not exactly, Micah. Here's an avatar meta-generated after about a minute of taking photos with a cell phone. Once you create your avatar, you should be able to use it in all different systems.
This is what avatars will soon look like.
They can move, talk, gesture, and react. Some will be able to sweat, age, and get sunburned. Now let's see how we'll collaborate. Imagine designing a product and inviting all your vendors into a common workspace to work together.
As the design evolves, it becomes a living digital environment
where people will develop, produce, and update the product throughout its full life cycle. Now, we have a few systems like that today at companies like Boeing and Dassault Systems, but they're proprietary and very expensive.
In the metaverse, this kind of platform will be available to everyone,
enabling large-scale collaboration. If we have a universal digital twin of Earth, then when you want a new building, you can have architects place their virtual models on the virtual site. When you choose one,
that same digital space becomes a collaboration space for all the contractors building their components.
Right. Again, we can think of this as just keeping track of what's happening, but
it won't be long before manipulating data in the virtual space makes things happen in the real world.
More and more, the virtual world will drive the physical world, and the buildings will build themselves.
We're going to need a new data infrastructure to manage a lot more stuff in the air and space as well.
If you think about it, a central server system is going to be overwhelmed and prone to failure and attack. We will need data rails that support autonomy, so the drones can talk with each other and with the ground and coordinate.
Hey Dad, you're talking about mesh networks. A mesh network is a network that isn't centrally controlled.
A good example of a mesh network is email. Email isn't owned by any one company. It's an open protocol, so it can grow and shrink with demand. Another example of a mesh network is cell phone networks. Before GSM, every company had to cover the entire country with its own towers.
But we know this led to huge costs and dark spots.
In Europe, there were too many countries, so they couldn't do that. In 1988, Europe created the GSM standard, which let anyone put up a cell tower and get paid for its use. A mesh network is a network where everyone makes money if the tower gets used, so it incentivizes people to put towers in new locations.
GSM is now the dominant standard worldwide.
A bad example is Starlink, because while Starlink is a mesh network, it's also proprietary. Other companies can't add to the network, so competitors will have to launch thousands of satellites at a different altitude. This is the old competition model. It's going to put a lot more material in space that we don't need because no one is going to allow Starlink to have a monopoly. This kind of infrastructure is at the heart of the open metaverse.
If we cooperated, we'd only need one set of satellites, and they would keep getting better and better as the price goes lower and lower.
Right. This is exactly what the Bitcoin network does. People are building decentralized networks for messaging, ownership, contracts, identity, and much more.
Sounds smart, Dad.
Now, Tesla has more driving data than anyone. We can have a world where each car company has to recreate all its own data to navigate the world, or they can share data. In the first case, we'll end up with only 2 car companies because the data is the most valuable asset, and that will be the only way to compete.
But in the open case, we'll have many more companies and a growing digital ecosystem because every company contributes to the good of the entire industry.
Twitter founder Jack Dorsey has said Twitter should have just been a protocol.
With a protocol, we would see tweets embedded into all our products.
Our cars could tweet their locations, companies could tweet recalls to the correct owners.
That single protocol would replace all the other chat platforms.
And with semantic data, tweets could help run everything from a transportation system to sporting events to emergency medical services.
You can learn more about these concepts at futureverse.com.
Next,
we're going to need to specify time more universally.
Imagine going back in time looking at a single address or building or watching an event that happened decades ago and doing it on the open web, not on various closed platforms. All the platforms will tie into the same single timeline.
Is that how we'll arrange all our photos, Dad?
Yep, it is, Micah. So if you missed a photo from an event, you can just go to the timeline and see all the other photos arranged in the exact order they were taken, without having to search the entire web.
That will sure make it easier to find photos, Dad.
Imagine watching a single address change from month to month, year to year. This would help us better understand traffic, crime, flow of goods and services, and much more.
We'll need a universal standard for time that goes down to the zeptosecond.
Do you know what a zeptosecond is, Micah?
Yep, it's a trillionth of a billionth of a second.
Wow, good answer. We want to place every event on the same timeline, from the evolution of dinosaurs to recreations of ancient cities to real-time traffic flow to high-energy particle collisions. The goal is to map the world of nature, human events, and fictional events.
I have a question for you. Where is your personal data?
You don't have your personal data. These companies have it. Your phone company has a record of every place you visit. You're being tracked as you visit websites. Your medical history is available to companies who pay for it. All your spending is available to companies, but not to you. We consumers play a small role in our vendors' ecosystems. We get ease of use, and they sell our data to the highest bidder. We become their most valuable asset, and they give us everything we want except privacy and the ability to change vendors.
What's the word for that, Dad?
This is called vendor lock-in. There are now 5 million apps in the App Store. That makes apps practically invisible. Apple shows you the apps that are the best for its shareholders, not for you. And the same with Siri as well. Today we have 3 major app stores. They're run by big corporations.
Did you know Google pays Apple $1 billion a month to not build their own search engine?
I did. Isn't that amazing, Micah?
Yeah, but I don't really understand what that means.
We don't want oligopolies. We want entrepreneurs to innovate without paying rent.
If wearables are the future, we need an open discovery and distribution model without gatekeepers.
To make use of the open web, we need a new platform. A platform where the individual is at the center.
Where you can control all your data and you decide what's best for you.
My proposal is the personal data locker, where you keep all your data under your control. This would give you access to all the systems in the open metaverse without having to log in, move assets, or install apps.
In VR terms, this would be your home space.
Where you have all your identification, assets, plans, documents, contracts, medical records, music, photo, media, family, and personal data. And you can give other people access to any data you want them to use, including money. That'll be your control room for the world of
Pull. Hey, that's the name of your book, Dad.
Today we have product push, but the open real-time web allows product and service pull. Today, a car could just be a block away from you, ready to take you to your destination, but you don't have the right app to find it. Even if you downloaded, installed, and registered on dozens of apps, it would be hard to find that car because they don't cooperate.
But Dad, an open platform would let drivers and riders find each other.
Right. Just tell your virtual assistant where you want to go, and the assistant will broadcast your request, keeping you anonymous. Then the car companies and individual car owners,
and even the cars themselves,
will send you offers to take you where you want to go. Choose an offer, and the car will come to you. This is what I mean by pull. The car itself can find your request and make you an offer. Rather than searching for things, say what you're looking for and the offers come to you. This is what I call kayakizing the world. With Kayak, the flights are always sorted according to your wishes, not the platforms.
The flights compete, not the airlines.
What if you could do that for everything? From finding a lawyer, to finding a babysitter, to ordering a pizza, getting a new insurance policy, a new car, or a new phone. Whenever you're looking for anything,
you just make a request and the answer comes to you.
This is the opposite of search, where you have to do most of the hard work to find things you're looking for. Today, aggregators gather all the data and display it in real time, but this won't work for most kinds of offers. If we could do it on the open internet, we wouldn't need aggregators that charge gate fees.
That's the vision of the open metaverse,
where all the data is available in real time and companies work to provide value rather than trap customers. This world of pull leads to the end of apps. Everyone thinks apps are normal. Apps are the way we do business.
But really, apps are traps.
Apps are all trying to keep you in their system. Every app wants to be a platform, and that means we have no platform. The goal of the open metaverse is to replace apps with interconnected services.
This brings us to the concept of the dumb phone.
In 20 years, we won't have any handsets, but in the meantime, I propose that we create the dumb phone, which is 1,000,000 times smarter than the smartphone. It has no apps. It has a native map and it holds your personal data. It has access to all the data, all the songs, all the videos, everything you could want.
So it's like a browser phone.
Yeah, kind of. But it holds the keys to your personal data and all the systems you want to access. If you forget your phone at home, you could just borrow anyone's phone, log in, and now that phone is your phone. In fact, you could log into any compatible screen and your full data environment will be right there.
How much would it cost?
A phone like this should cost about $50. It'll deprive Apple of profits, but it'll be better for consumers and it will lead us to the world we're describing.
Okay, so how will AI fit into this open metaverse?
By working for you rather than your vendors. Today's digital AI assistants don't work for us. They work for our vendors. They provide the results that optimize long-term shareholder value.
That's the world of push.
Right. But in the world of pull, things are different. You'll keep your personal data under your control, but you won't manage it. Instead, you'll pay a small amount to store it, and you'll hire a small army of digital personal assistants to do your work for you.
So these are like your digital employees?
Yeah, don't like your digital financial advisor? Fire it and get a different one in the open marketplace. Think about your car. Do you own your driving data?
No.
Who owns it?
Your car company, of course.
Right. So if you have another car, or if you rent or borrow a car, you need to keep track of all your transportation data on several different vendor systems. No one's going to do that.
In the open metaverse, your personal data locker would have your driving history.
You would hire the algorithm that drives whatever car you're allowed to drive. It has a full record of everywhere you've been. It knows where home is. It knows where to pick your kids up from school.
Hey, I homeschool.
Okay, but it can still go pick up your groceries or your mom by itself. It's your data, your driving preferences, and it interacts with your insurance company to let your car start in the first place. The chauffeur is independent of the device and independent of the data. You have control over all your driving data, and you can replace your digital chauffeur if you find a better one anytime.
That's cool.
Your digital chauffeur?
No, that car. Can I have one when I'm older?
We'll see. In Mark Zuckerberg's vision, you'll sit down with your lawyer to talk about your legal situation. You'll both have realistic-looking avatars and you'll both be wearing suits, while in reality, you'll both be home in your pajamas. And at the end of the meeting, you'll get a bill for $900 an hour. But that's not what's going to happen. In the open metaverse, you have all your own data, and you hire your own AI assistants to help you manage your life. You'll pay about $100 a month for an AI legal assistant that is aware of all your assets, liabilities, rights, and obligations, and keeps an eye on everything 24/7.
It's software, Dad. It doesn't need an avatar.
Exactly. It should keep you out of trouble in the first place. It can talk with you and all your devices, and if you need something specific, it has access to a huge open ecosystem of legal resources.
Including humans?
Yep, even including humans. Eventually, you'll have your own pilot, career coach, education coach, emergency medical team, doctor, financial controller, lawyer, and much more. But it won't be humans.
It will be your team of personal digital AI assistants.
They'll live in the cloud, working for you while you sleep. Once the data layers are in place, we can go beyond wearables. The data will be all around us.
Connections will be everywhere.
What matters is your identity and your access to data. We may need certain devices to see this data.
Or it could just be built into our environment and recognize us when we are near.
Your digital identity is the key to the data, not a handset.
People think it's going to look like this. We're going to walk around wearing glasses.
That doesn't really make sense. If you think about it, most everything you might see walking down the street is noise. Instead, your personal assistant knows all the things that may be relevant to you. So you'll only see or hear about the few things that you may actually be interested in. Your bots will do the filtering for you and alert you to anything relevant.
What if anyone could leave location-based messages anywhere, even attached to a person?
This is going to happen, and 99% of it will be noise. But what's noise to me might be signal to you. We'll have our own bots to help keep us informed and safe. Facial recognition is improving, leading to concerns about privacy.
Should the government own our data, or should we own it?
This will be part of your future, Micah. We should all be taking it more seriously. I think the system of the future looks a lot like Jarvis from Iron Man.
Hey, I know Jarvis. Jarvis talks to Tony Stark and tells him what he needs to know. It gets him out of difficult situations all the time.
Importantly, Tony created and owns Jarvis. It's not something he gets from a vendor like Apple. It works for him.
Yeah, you're right. It's not trying to sell him anything. I never really thought of it that way.
So this is where I think we're going. Voice and wearables. But we have a choice. A few vendors that have closed ecosystems or an open system that lets us combine any hardware and try any new combinations we want. I'm not talking about Bluetooth. I'm talking about the data layers that power the real-time, location-aware web.
The business model is the key.
The advertising model has reached its peak in today's internet. Many companies get revenues from selling your behavior and attention to advertisers. When services are free, they actually cost you more than you think.
In the future, we'll turn many physical products into digital ones.
The smartphone replaced watches, cameras, answering machines, flashlights, calendars, and many more physical goods.
But the metaverse goes much further.
As an example, monitors and many other office items may simply disappear over the next 10 to 20 years. If this gives a better, more productive experience than today's monitors do, we could say goodbye to printers, meeting rooms, and office buildings.
Are we really going to have virtual meetings, Dad?
Yes, I think we will, Micah. We do them today, even though they're awkward and flat. 10 years from now, meetings will be more natural. They will make better use of data and they will be more effective.
And those virtual meetings will reduce the need for cars, planes, hotels, airports, and more.
We may not need as many stadiums. In 2021, a virtual event on the Wave platform drew 2 million viewers, averaging 45 minutes and 1,000 interactions per person.
Hey, I remember that.
The fitness market is already reducing demand for gyms and equipment. This market is already over $10 billion a year and is projected to grow at 30% per year for the next 10 years.
Training is already booming.
All the physical simulators will soon be virtual. Now, if you think about it, training is just temporary because in a few years, you'll just drive the truck or the crane or the plane from the virtual environment. I want to make sure everyone understands this. The simulator will become the real interface, and the chair and cockpit will disappear from the equipment. Then AI will replace the operator. We are dematerializing, reskilling, and preparing for robots quickly, and this is soon going to be the new normal. I have a separate presentation on technological unemployment, but I don't think we need to worry about jobs for a while.
In summary, the metaverse is the real-time, location-aware web.
At the moment, games and fitness are where the money is, but the real action is here in the real world. And there's a lot to do. We want to build digital twins of everything. We want to build virtual training environments that will later drive the physical world.
This shift will be more customer-centric.
It will make people less reliant on big companies and governments. People will own their own data. We will have protocols for things like digital identity and privacy. We will form digital networks on our own terms.
And the hardware will get smaller and smarter.
AI will move to the edge. AI will be embedded in everything. An open marketplace of personal digital assistants will cause an explosion of innovation that will benefit customers. We won't add AI to our apps.
What will we do, Dad?
We'll add AI to ourselves.
Apps are traps. The sooner we get rid of them, the better.
I agree. The trend of dematerialization will accelerate. We'll be richer and better off and consume fewer physical resources, and we'll have fewer repetitive jobs that people don't enjoy anyway.
That sounds good, Dad.
We should look at every value chain and ask, what if it transformed from push to pull? For example, what if the move towards smart cities started with pull rather than push? We must now choose between a vendor-driven future and a human-driven future. In the vendor-driven future, every industry will collapse down to just 2 competitors because the customer data is the most valuable thing they own.
This is not about Googles and avatars.
Now read what it actually says.
This is not about goggles and avatars.
It's about the shift from push to pull. We should be building the real-time, location-aware web of the future for humans. To learn more, come to Giordano.institute. Thank you. Again.
Thank you.